Shalom. First and foremost, I give all praises, honor, and glory unto our Heavenly Father, Yahweh Basham, Yahweh Shai, Basham, Roka Kadash. And Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father's true name, whom the world ignorantly calls God. And Yahweh Shai is the name of the Heavenly Father's Son's true name, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. I give it double honors to the apostles and elders of great peace to taught me this truth, and shalom to the elect. Once again, Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father's true name, and his son's name is Yahweh Shai. And in today's news from the end time headlines, I'm going to a breaking news that came, I think it was 3 days ago or 2 days ago, just a few days ago, and it states here biometric verification now mandatory for transactions involving the use of Ghana card. And what you got to know is, those of you in the know, you already know that in Ghana here, we've transitioned, to using biometric, cards and biometric verification, but it hasn't been fully implemented. And so the next phase to which the government is, is trying to implement here is the full use of the biometric Ghana card, which is before you do any transaction, you need to use your physical card, your physical Ghana card, in order to verify your identity, in order to transact, any kind of business, whether to register for a new SIM, to register for a business, and so on and so forth. And so I'll go straight to reading this. According to a report from 3 News, Ghana's Interior Minister Muntaka Mohamed Mubarak has declared that biometric verification is now the only acceptable method for confirming identity with the Ghana card. The announcement follows the full enforcement of the National Identification Register Amendment Regulations 2026, which they passed, a couple of months ago, by our parliament. And continuing states, speaking to the media in Accra on Wednesday, July 22nd, the minister said the new rules are meant to protect the integrity of the national identification system and shield citizens' personal data from fraud and misuse. LI 2523 was signed on March the 2nd, 2026, gazetted on March 27. So you see, it just took place a few months ago in March and took effect on June 9th after parliamentary approval. So it was approved on June the 9th. It amends the earlier National Identification Register Regulations of 2012. The regulation makes biometric verification of the Ghana card the mandated standard for confirming a person's identity and retires the practice of merely inspecting, photocopying, or scanning the card as an acceptable method of verification, the minister stated. For years, banks, telecom companies, hospitals, schools, and other institutions accepted visual checks or photocopies of the card. Officials now describe that approach as dangerously weak. A photocopy can be altered, a scanned image can be misused without the owner's knowledge, and a visual inspection alone cannot confirm that the person presenting the card is its rightful owner, he explained. Well, that's obvious, and continuing. Under the new framework, any organization carrying out transactions covered by the regulations must authenticate identity through biometric matching against the National Identity Register or by using NIA-approved match-on card devices. So we are already here where we have a data bank or national identity register, a database of people who are registered on the national identification, um, database, the citizens. So it's safe to say that almost all citizens here in Ghana have been registered um, on this national identification database. And then after registering, you'll be issued a biometric card with your unique, identification information, that is unique to you only, with your fingerprint, your eye, I think iris, biometrics, and yeah, that's it. The fingerprints, and then your retina, biometrics, or eye biometrics. So continuing, um, institutions are strictly forbidden from requesting, keeping, or relying on photocopy scans or images of Ghana card. Unapproved biometric methods are also banned. Private individuals verifying another person's identity are urged to use biometric checks where possible and must not retain or share copies of the card without legal permission or the owner's consent. Refusing a lawful biometric request, including fingerprint or live facial capture by authorized officers, is now an offense. It says here, refusing a lawful biometric request, including fingerprint or live facial capture by authorized officers, is now an offense. So you, the citizens here, you no longer have any say when they ask for your biometric info. You have no choice but to give it out. Otherwise, it will now be an offense. And all this is just a gradual transition to the mark of the beast system. Where in place of this, they will instead of using this, they will use the MOTB system. After they've adopted it, and then they will say it's an offense if you don't have that chip in your hand or your forehead. They are gradually heading towards that. Non-compliant organizations face heavy financial penalties, suspension, or complete loss of access to the NIA verification platform. Individuals who misuse cards or obstruct verification risk fines, jail time, or both. So they are saying if you obstruct verification, just like the previous paragraphs, if you don't comply, hey, you might be jailed or something, or fined. The NIA will form dedicated compliance teams to monitor adherence and work with law enforcement. So now they are working with law enforcement, and this thing is going to start picking up pace, towards the MOTB, and once it's been implemented, hey, and that's it, man. A 3-month transition window runs from July 27th to November 2, 2026, giving institutions time to acquire devices, train staff, and connect to the official platform. The minister stressed that legal obligations remain in force during this period and urged banks, telecoms, insurance, hospitals, schools, and government agencies to begin compliance immediately. So this is very good news. They are just laying the groundwork, to make the implementation of the mark of the beast, go smoothly. So I'll go to the scriptures, because Ghana here, they are joined onto Esau's system, and they seriously worship the image of the beast over here in Ghana. And I'm going to, let's see here. This is First Peter chapter 5 verses 8. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. Certainly, and this devil is laying a snare You see, for for many jakes over here in Ghana and all over the world, you see, they are presenting this as if it's something beneficial, like um saying that, oh, you need to have your unique identity, and then if you are able to get this biometric registration card, you'll be able to reduce fraud, was it identity fraud, scams, and theft. You see, online theft. You know, people, the scammers, they work online, they steal your information and then use it to scam you of your money. You see, but with this unique identification, it will be very difficult for criminals to, you know, to be able to steal your money or whatever it is. And going into the book of Deuteronomy chapter um, okay, Deuteronomy of Slovakia, Deuteronomy chapter 12 verses 30 and reading, take heed to thyself that thou be not snared by following them, after that they be destroyed from before thee, and that thou inquire not after their gods, saying, how did these nations serve their gods? Even so will I do likewise. Exactly. This is to you jakes out here, because one thing you take that MOTB system, the MOTB chip, it means you acknowledge that Esau is your God, you see, and then instead of relying on Yahweh Basham Yahushua, you are saying that Esau is your God and provider, instead of relying on our true power, Yahweh Basham Yahushua, you see. And so this is a form of snare laid by Esau, the so-called white man, in order to, gradually head those who are ignorant of what's going on into, finally accepting the mark of the beast, or the MOTB microchip. And so he, as a Jake, you need to take heed and not be ignorant of the devil's devices in order not to be snared, you see. And going into Exodus 23 verses 2, thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil, neither shalt thou speak in a cause to decline after many to wrest judgment. Because you see, what's going on is many of the world's governments, they are all on board, and then going and implementing these CBDCs, which they will use, and then combine it with the biometric, registrations, and then finally phase it or transition it to the mark of the beast, or the MOTB system. You see, where you'll be able to use it to buy or sell, and they'll phase out completely what's it called, physical cash or fiat currency, paper money, coin. A time will be coming where no one will be able to use paper money or coins. They'll phase all of that out of the system, and then you will only be able to use the microchip in your hand or your forehead to partake in this society, that is to buy or sell, you see. So it's a warning again to Jake to not follow the heathens. You see, they are the multitude. They are all on board implementing their CBDCs and their biometric registration, and then and so on and so forth. All those things are just a form of the image of the beast, which you know, many jakes around the world are worshiping, including many jakes here in Ghana. You see, so they are following the ways of the world, to follow a multitude to do evil. You see, even though this biometric registration in itself, it is not a bad thing, but the thing is, the plan that they have of implementing the MOTB, that is what is evil, you see. So just following the multitude in a deceptive manner, in order to, have that chip placed in you, you see. And going into the final book of Revelation 13, verses 14 to 15. Okay, I'll read everything, sum it up. Or, okay, I'll just select, yeah. Starting from 14, and Revelation 30:14, and deceived them that okay, I'll start from 13. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had a wound by a sword and did live. And if you know this is the Roman Empire that got taken out of power, and now they've come back in this reincarnation as, Babylon the Great, EU, and NATO, you see. And they came back, and you know from the Caucasus Mountain, you see, when they were uncivilized, or they didn't have the light. So now they are back, and so that meant that their wound was healed, you see. And now they are the ones ruling the world, you see, through their technologies, their democracies, their way of living. That is the image of the beast. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as will not worship the image, you see, of the beast should be killed, you see. So those who don't want to join themselves in the ways of Esau's democracy and so on and so forth, then Esau will just strike back and then sanction you, and then make your life, miserable. You'll be a pariah state, or you'll be excluded from his society, you see, have sanctions on you and cripple your economy. The same way with this Ghana card. Without this Ghana card that one has, if you don't have it, you won't be able to, register your business. Even a common phone SIM card, you wouldn't be able to get. These are all the things that this devil Esau Edom is doing. And so, hey, the thing is, the time is getting closer and closer to the implementation of the MOTB. And so, hey, you are being warned, you see. So that ends it for today's lesson. I give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Basham, Yahushua Basham Kakadash. Shalom unto the elect. Shalom.